Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 15. Day 15, 15 days straight of going live, and just so excited for what it's brought to my life, to the lives of the people that are getting breakthrough and freedom from really just learning how to steward things in their life. And when people, most of the time, I should say, when people hear the word stewardship, they think of finances. And it was very intentional that I waited a while to talk about stewarding your finances because that's the first thing that comes to mind. But I really wanted to hit home of all of the things that we get to steward. So, kind of a little bit of a recap. If you have not caught any of the other lives up until today, we talked about the principles of stewardship in the first 2 days, stewarding your current season, stewarding your time, stewarding your calling, stewarding your relationship, stewarding your mind, your health, your business, stewarding your decisions, your past experience, your influence. And then I brought up time again because when it comes to stewarding your time, honestly, like I had like a like three-parter with that one because there is so much to talk about when it comes to stewarding your time. But now we are jumping into the stewardship of your finances, and a lot of people. Here's what I hear most of the time. I'm going to say most of the time. I'm not going to say all of the time because this isn't everybody, but it is most people. They're like, I want more. I want more. Type more in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, you're watching a replay somewhere, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching from. If you want more finances, more money in your life, type more in the chat. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a lot of mores, whether it's here live or even on the replay. Or maybe you're listening to this on the podcast and you're like, yes, me. Well, let me ask you this question. How are you stewarding what you have now? Are you saying, you know what, when I have more, I will give more? Now, do people do that? Yes. But are you waiting to give, to tithe, to really steward what you have right now? Or are you just waiting until you get what you think you should have before you do it? A lot of us get stuck there. And that comes from a mindset of lack of, I don't have enough. I can't do it right now. Rather than, I'm going to trust that I'm going to give this, I'm going to tithe this, and there is going to be more that is going to come. You know, in scripture, it's the one thing that God says to test him on is test me when it comes to your tithing. Now, I'm going to go there. I love talking about tithing because I know so many people have like a trigger and a rub with it. But that's just because we have to release control. We get to release control. And if you truly don't trust the church that you're going to in tithing, you don't trust what they do with their finances, then maybe you shouldn't be going there. But so many are like, I don't know where this is going, so I'm not going to tithe. Like, I don't have a say, right? I remember when I used to be like that. Super control freak. Anybody else type control freak in the chat if that was you? Like super, super control freak. Christopher says more. Yes, we all want more, right? We all want more. So when it comes to tithing and offerings are completely different. Tithing and giving back are completely different. So I want to talk about tithing first because we get to sow into like where we are learning. So when you go to a church, whether you're watching online or you're going in person, are you tithing? Are you tithing? Or are you caught up in, I'm not sure where it's going to go. I don't trust where it's going to go. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. Or is it coming out of a lack? I can't afford to tithe. I could tell you so many stories of other people, including myself and my husband, where we were like, you know what, really can't afford it. And then it's true what they say, you can't afford not to. The blessings that come on the other side of that are like 10x plus. Now, you can't say that for everybody, but it does happen. I remember somebody, when I was talking about this with them, they had tithe. The first time they had tithe in a long time was $40. Less than a week later, somebody gave them 400. 10x. Like out of nowhere. Hey, I feel like giving this to you. Like, come on. Come on. We get way too stingy with what we have. Now, let's dive into the concept of tithing, right? God gives us the ability to have the 90%, and he's only asking for 10. Only asking for 10. That's it. People struggle giving 10%. So every $100 is $10. Every $1,000 is $100. Every $10,000 is $1,000. Like, come on. And doing it as a first fruit, right? When you get it, it goes out. Not waiting until ... Now, here's a concept that a friend of mine, pastor friend of mine, his name is Humberto Revenato. He is the pastor of Revive Church in Uvalde, Texas. Also, he has a campus in San Antonio, Texas. Here's how he opened my perspective recently when it comes to tithing. It is Old Testament that God asks for the 10%. New Testament, he asks for all of it. All of it belongs to him anyways. So give it back to him. Lord, what do you say? What do you want? How many of us are triggered by that? How many of us are like, don't know if I can do that one? It is all his anyways. He's only asking for 10%. I now get to the point being like, how much? What does that look like? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? On this one, is it 50%? Is it 100? You know, that can be very scary at times, right? Because you're like, oh, but guess what? If he's going to ask you to do it, he's going to bless you when you're being obedient and doing it. So Old Testament is only asking for 10. New Testament is asking for all of it, surrendering all of it, every bit of it. Now, I'm not saying you take your entire check and you go give it to somebody. It's really taking everything that you have and be like, Lord, it's yours anyway. What do you want me to do with it? That's the posture. And so many of us get hung up on money. Did you know? I should have looked it up. I forgot. It's like over 100 times in the Bible, it talks about money. Money is one of the most talked about subjects in the Bible. One of the most talked about subjects, because the Lord knew people will become a slave to money rather than becoming the person that can steward what they've been given. So then money is now being mastered by them. Did you pick that up? Like, so many are a slave to money rather than you becoming the person that can steward money, have the right heart, the right mind, giving generously, and being able to master money now. Now money's not mastering you, you're mastering it. I remember, real talk, real story. We were on North Shore of Hawaii. I think it was December of 2021 for Christmas. And I remember just sitting there. We had it right there, right at the water. And like, I'm feeling the waves crash and I'm feeling the breeze. And the Lord really caught my attention and said, I don't have your lordship. Money does. You value money more than me. And I was broken, y'all. Broken. It's the dirty truth. The dirty truth. We could sit there and say all the Christianese things of like, Lord, you have my X, Y, and Z, but does he? Does he? Come on. What you think about most of the time is what you give your focus and attention to, and typically has your lordship. Is it your job? Is it your relationships? Is it money? Is it success? What is it? What you think about most of the time. And we have to really be honest and catch ourselves. Like, self-audit time, y'all. Really. Because many of us, just like those that are typing more in the chat, more across whatever platform you're watching this on, they want more. We all do. But how are we becoming the person that can steward what we have now and become good stewards? Be able to give, be able to tithe, be able to be generous. Generosity is contagious. It was amazing over this past week when I was in Dallas, as I had mentioned to you guys before, for our Kim 10 speaker event. Kim 10 stands for Kingdom Impact Message in 10 Minutes. We have certified Kim 10 speakers that were speaking. Amazing. Just so incredible what transpired in Dallas from that. We were at a Waffle House, and I have never been to a Waffle House before. I went there for breakfast the day before we left. And if you've ever been to a Waffle House, by the way, there's like no seating. It's like you can have max 4 people, but if you have any kind of a group, forget it. And it's like a turn and burn type of a restaurant, right? We were sitting at this table, not turning and burning. And it was so amazing for, us as a company, paid for the meal, like what we were able to give. Other people sitting down, understanding that like this lady's not making any money with us sitting there, tithing, here's a 20, here's a 20, here's a 20. Like, she probably made more just from our table in tips than she would have all day with people coming in and out of that restaurant. And I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that because it's amazing when people understand what money means to others and being generous with theirs to give to others, what it can do for them. I know all of us love it when we see on Instagram those pages that are like blessing people with thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, just because walking through Walmart, them saying like, hey, I need $5 for a sandwich. Sure, no problem. Because you were so generous, here's $1,000. And these people are like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. I needed this because I couldn't pay for blah, blah, blah. We love those things. Why don't we do more of that? Maybe it's not $1,000. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's picking up the Starbucks of the person behind us in line, picking up somebody's lunch. Maybe it's Venmoing somebody today. Here's some acts of kindness, y'all. Like, I want to challenge you with this. Maybe Venmo somebody today, $20 being like, lunch is on me. Love you. Hope you have a great day. Like, maybe they don't need it, but it's the act of generosity. I've had many acts of generosity when I didn't expect it come at the right time. I'm like, wow, only God, only God. Generosity is like a boomerang and it comes back. Now, we don't want to tithe and give hoping that stuff comes back. I mean, do we all want it? Sure. But at the end of the day, give because you want to give, not because you want to get something. So when it comes to stewarding your finances, tithing is huge, giving back to the place that you're getting fed spiritually. Offerings are huge. There's more that we can give to help others in need. Scripture says if we have it, give it. What are you holding on to it for? So many people are holding on with like a death grip with their finances and their money, when if they loosened up a little bit, there could be so much more coming through, but they're choking out the blessings that they can bless other people and other blessings coming in. Other things when it comes to stewarding your finances, like my husband and I did this when we first got married. Go through your subscriptions in your account and see how many subscriptions you have and ones that you're not using anymore. The first time we did this, y'all, we like literally saved like $200 to $300. It was like, what? We're not using all of those? So I do an audit probably once a quarter of like, do we need that still? Are we still using that? What's this? What's that? And, because like $10 here, $50 there, $30 here, whatever, it adds up. It adds up. It really does. Other memberships or subscriptions that you have, are you really using it? Are you really using it? Or should you be using it and you're not? So you're just wasting money because you're not being disciplined enough to use it. Take a gym subscription membership, for example. A lot of people waste monies on gyms. And you're like, oh, I'll get to it. It's like having the gym membership is like I'll get to it at some point, but you don't. So you're paying something that you're not even using, even though you should be. Another thing to steward. Are you buying frivolously or are you being intentional with your purchases? Like, do you really need that or do you just want it? I talked about this the other day when it comes to me wanting a treat. I think I did it on day 14. When it comes to me wanting a treat, if it's ice cream or chips, two things I can't have in the house because I will destroy it all, I give myself 5 days. Do you really want it? Do you really want it? Do you really want it? Even for like fast food, do you really want it? Do you really want it? So by day 5, if I still want it, I'm going to go get it because I waited that long. And apparently I have that craving that just cannot be satisfied other than whatever it is that I'm craving. Same thing for when we buy. Are we just buying just because? Or is it something that we truly do need? And are we partnering with the Lord in that? Should I buy this? Should I not? So many of us just do our own thing because our feelings and emotions dictate it rather than having discernment. Do I really need this? Where should this go? What should we do with this? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like that is how you steward as well. Many of us don't have the things that we want or the money that we want because we have leaks everywhere in our finances. When we could be diligent, we could save, and we could steward that way. Truthfully, go to the cash system, right? Like if you really want something, pull out the cash and then you have it. And then there you go. There you go. Be diligent with it. Many of us have to work on our money mindset in order to really be able to steward what we've been given. We have a crisis of copious amounts of debt in this country. I mean, our country is horrible at handling debt. Let's just be honest. I mean, trillions of dollars in debt only goes up. But a lot of us, even, with inflation, like I know a lot of people had to get in the debt because they have no other way to feed their family and to function, which is sad. But a lot of us could just be better stewards, truthfully, with our time, with our finances, truthfully. When you think about, again, the New Testament part of tithing, 100% goes back to the Lord. 100% of it is his, I should say. 100% of it is his, and we get to give it back to him. What do you want me to do with this? When we partner with him in all of our decisions, it makes spending money more enjoyable. Not out of guilt, not out of selfish wants and then regret later, FOMO, whatever. It's, okay, I feel good about this. I really do. I really do feel good about this. I used to buy because I wanted it. And I'm like, oh, I work hard and I justify because I worked hard. I'm going to get it. Come on. Like, just because you work hard doesn't mean you have to get everything. I have learned so much of just the leaks that I had, the holes that I had that need to be mended, that needed to be repaired when it came to my money mindset. And I'm still learning a lot of it. I've had some really incredible conversations with my mom over the last probably 2 years of how pride, ego, money, logic, especially money, has a big stronghold in my family lineage. Massive, massive. And you mix all those pride, ego, logic, money together, it is a recipe for a hot mess. And when I chose to be like, Lord, I want to give this all back to you, what do I get to heal? What do I get to overcome? Because it's bigger than me. It's about my family lineage now. It's about being the example for anybody that's watching. I don't care who watches, but somebody is. Lord, what do you want me to do? And my gosh, was that hard. But it's so worth it because the amount of freedom that I feel now, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wish more people would be willing to go through the fire. Be willing to go through the fire and not allowing the smoke of the fire you just walked through to be the fragrance that others smell on you. Don't allow the fire that you just walked through, that smoke, be the fragrance that others see and smell on you. A lot of us want people to smell the smoke and see the smoke because they might feel bad for us. I don't need people to feel bad. I want people to understand I went through the fire. I didn't come out smelling like smoke and I have been refined. I am better for it. But many of us go through the fire. We come out smelling like the smoke. And then we're wanting all that attention of, oh my gosh, look what just happened. No. Rise above that. Be the generous giver. Be the generous tither. Be that person where you don't have to check your pocketbook of like, oh, can I do this or not? You're just like, yes, here you go. Here you go. There are so many people struggling out there that will never, ever share what they're going through. People have like a misconception that people are so bad and so evil. And sure, there are those people out there, but I believe inherently people are so good. Give people a reason to be generous. Give people a reason to treat you nicely. Give people a reason to just be kind. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But why don't you model that for people? Like your challenge here today, I'm going to leave you with the challenge before we wrap up here. Your challenge here today is if you haven't tithed this month to a church that you're at, do it. 10%. Hands down, without question. Just do it. Venmo, 1, 2, 4 people, here, coffee's on me, lunch is on me today, 10, 20 bucks. Like, make somebody's day by just being generous. Pay it for the next 2 people in your Starbucks line. Like, be generous because it passes on. People aren't expecting it, but they love it. And it makes their day and they will never forget it. And then they're like, you know what? How can I do that? It is contagious and it just bounces down the line. So before we wrap up, if you are looking for more, if you are looking to increase when it comes to finances, you have to steward what you have now. That includes tithing, includes being generous, being cautious, being intentional with what you're spending on, and really just being like, okay, Lord, let's do this together. And the more you do it together, the more he'll probably highlight things like, nope, not that. Or, yep, we're going to do that. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but then it's going to be so much fun and you're going to have so much more peace. So much more peace. He knows what you want. He knows your heart's desires. And he's also blessed you to go bless other people. So go be a blessing. So I hope you got something from this. Type what your breakthrough was below. Type what you're taking away below. Type replay if you're watching the replay. And I hope that you really dig into, okay, how can I steward what I have now? How can I be generous today? And make that a weekly thing. Maybe, you're like, oh, I can't be generous with my money at this point. $5 goes a long way. A kind word with a description as to why I appreciate you also goes a long way. There's so much that we can be generous with our time, with our finances, with our gifts. But many of us just hold back of like, oh, well, I need this in return. Give without expecting and watch what happens in your life. Watch what happens. All right, you guys, it's been amazing. Day 15 in the books. I will see you tomorrow for day 16. Bye, everyone.